Every version of Insightly comes with a simple permission system. It lets you decide whether to share a record with everyone in your company or with just certain groups or individuals. But it can be a bit too simple for bigger organizations. If that's the case for you, it may be time to take the plunge into advanced permissions. And just like that, simple permissions are gone. Okay, let's get started. As you can see, we have 4 types of settings. They all affect user permissions in different ways. But the main thing to remember is that some of them restrict what users can see, some of them expand what users can see, and some do both. Now, with that in mind, let's take it section by section, starting with profiles. Profiles are different from other settings because they control what users can see and do. Insightly automatically creates 2 types of profiles, one for your account administrators and one for standard users. To get started creating a custom profile, let's clone the standard user profile. As you can see here, we have 2 sets of permissions for a new profile, Basic and Administrator. The difference is that we can restrict what users can see and do with basic permissions, and we can expand what users can see and do with these read all and modify all permissions. Drilling in, you can see these profiles break down each record type by what the user can do with it. The choice is yours. Maybe you want a profile that prevents its users from seeing any leads, but ensures they can see every contact in Insightly no matter what. For this example, we'll create a profile that prevents its users from deleting any records and save it as no delete. Now you'll be brought to this page. From here, you can assign this profile to specific users. Save, and that's all there is to it. Each assigned user can now see, create, edit, or delete only what their profile allows them to. So now that we've covered profiles, back on the main page of Advanced Permissions, the remaining settings are all interrelated. Organization-wide sharing, roles, and sharing rules all have to do with sharing around your role hierarchy. These 3 settings are a bit more complex than profiles, but once set up, they'll help your teams focus on what matters to them while automatically rolling up record access to the higher-ups. Let's start with organization-wide sharing. By default, organization-wide sharing is set to private on each record type. That means since you've switched over to advanced permissions, each standard user is now locked out of everything. All they can see in Insightly are records they've created themselves or records assigned to them. But when we set contacts and organizations to public and click Save, now contacts and organizations will be again visible to every user. If you're designing your permission system based on teams or hierarchy, you'll want everything on private, and from here we'll expand record access in the final 2 settings. Now let's move to roles. Here's where you can design your organization's sharing hierarchy so that record access will roll up automatically to your organization's leadership. Start by adding a new role. This one is for the users on the top of the pyramid who want to have access to everything. To assign users to roles, just follow the same process you did for profiles. Now it's saved as a role, and we can add another one that reports to this one by clicking Add Role. Add the name, and with Save and Add Another, you can add one more. Now we have 3 roles: West Coast reps, East Coast reps, and executive staff. Anyone assigned to executive staff will now have access to all the records belonging to their reports. So from here, you can create as complex a role hierarchy as your organization requires. This is powerful, but it can be too restrictive. What if you want the West Coast reps to share leads with each other, but not with the East Coast reps? For a case like this, we're on to the last setting, sharing rules. Sharing rules is where you share record types within and between roles, breaking through the walls created by your organization-wide sharing settings. To do this, select the record type you want shared and which roles should share it. Like this, each user on the West Coast will see all of each other's leads. Likewise, even though you want to keep the 2 regions separate, you may want them to share opportunities so they aren't working the same account without realizing it. Depending on the complexity of your organization, you might need a lot of sharing rules. That's okay. You can always add, edit, and delete them to make sure your users can see what they need to see. So you've set up your sharing hierarchy and gone through all 4 types of permission settings. To wrap it all up, here are a few things to remember as you start rolling it out. First, the sharing hierarchy controls only what users can see. Profiles control what they can see and do. Second, it's 100% safe to switch back and forth between simple and advanced permissions. All your settings will be saved on both sides. Third, if you ever need to figure out why someone can or can't view a particular record, just navigate to the record and click on this icon for permissions details. On the user side, click through their user profile to see their profile and role. Fourth and finally, your design of advanced permissions will be unique, so don't be afraid to try different approaches to find what works best for you.